Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Travel Coffee Break. Every Wednesday at this time, I sit here and open up the mic. I mean, that's assuming I'm here, of course, and invite people to come along and chat. Now, sometimes I'm organized and actually have a topic in mind and trail it and have some guests already lined up. And then other times, like this week and the last couple of weeks, I just literally open the mic and I send an invite out to everybody who is or has the Travel Coffee Break circled on the Travel Coffee Break G Plus page, and invite them to come along and talk about travel and tourism. And why don't I get rid of that thing there? There we go. And chat about the industry and what's new and that kind of thing. So once again, I'm in that situation. You're very welcome to join me if you've had one of those invitations. Then just click on it and you can pop up here and tell me what's happening in your travel tourism world, be you in the industry, in PR, or in the travel media, by which I mean traditional journalists and bloggers alike. So for me this week, last week I was talking about Taste Croatia, which was a discovery for me, not least because it turned out my neighbours have this rather interesting little business based down in Borough Market in London. They have a deli there that specialises in Croatian foods, wines and deli type foods, cooked meats and cheeses and olive oils and all sorts of extraordinary things. And what they do is they also operate, and this is the bit I hadn't realised and why it's apposite, is they run a series of, or they have a series of itineraries for food tours around different parts of Croatia, looking specifically at foods or specifically at wines, or a combination in most cases of both, which you can join as a small group tour, or you could put together your own bespoke, as they say, tailor-made tour as well. So I think that's quite an interesting area, and the only reason I mention it is because I was writing it up for the Travelist website today. Other stuff that I was writing up, of course, today was the launch of the Heathrow's Terminal 2, which has been, I think, some 4 years in the coming. They closed down the original Terminal 2, which has been around since 1955, and basically refurbished the whole thing, rebuilt the whole thing pretty much from scratch. In fact, somewhere I have a photograph, he said, if I can find the right thingy here, and they literally opened it this morning. Well, they were mindful of the last time they did this in 2008. You may remember they opened Terminal 5, and it was all a bit of a disaster. That the staff had trouble. I think the staff had trouble parking, and a lot of systems didn't work, including the luggage system, which went completely into chaos and meltdown. And it was all a bit of a shambles, and a rather embarrassing public shambles at that. So mindful of that, instead of operating as it were, as they mean to go on right from the start, I'm sorry, as I'm speaking, I'm looking for these. Here we are. They decided instead they were going to, as it were, soft launch. So the plan is to have, I think, 26 airlines will be based there eventually. But to start today, they only had one airline, the launch airline, as it were, United, flying in and out, 17 flights in and 17 flights out, some 10%, I think, of their capacity. And here we are. Here's the photograph of the check-in area, all looking shiny and new and empty there. And so yes, that's now up and running. And then over the next few months, they'll start building that up so that eventually all 26 airlines will operate from there with 332 daily flights to 54 global destinations. Oh yeah, the terminal of course has retailers and all the rest of it. But the two I noticed that I thought were rather interesting was that there's going to be a branch of John Lewis there, which is the first time that John Lewis have ever been in an airport. And there's also an outlet, a food outlet called the Gorgeous Kitchen, which is a restaurant created by 4 local female chefs. It says on the release. So that's up and running. Of course, the timing is, I'm sure, not a coincidence, but here we are at the moment where the government is really having to focus its mind on the inquiry into the third runway and decide where that might go. And this new terminal, of course, plays a role in that, because if it were to happen, then the idea is that Terminal 2 would be extended to become one of 2 main passenger hubs for the airport. It'll be, in effect, Heathrow East, and then Heathrow West would comprise Terminals 5 and a new one, 6. And that they'll have satellite buildings to basically to have all the, that business that they have at Dulles, although without the trundly buses that go back and forth between them. But the idea is you'd have those outstations where the aircraft all offload, and you'd have several sort of ramps of those, and then they'd all feed back into these terminals. So anyway, so that's up and running, and quite a good thing. One of the other things that's happened at the moment, there was a thing I think today about the Thai Hotels Association. They're asking Thailand's military junta to create recovery plans to restore confidence from international markets ahead of the high season, which is really that period throughout the winter. It was pretty much October through to February, I guess. And they're basically urging them to try and normalize as quickly as possible, because apparently it is already affecting bookings. I did see, according to Thai data, the figure plunged to 40% this year, bookings. So it's obviously in places like Phuket, Samui and Pattaya went down by almost 50%. So it's obviously having an impact there. I did have a quick look at the Foreign and Commonwealth Office travel advice, and essentially there are some areas where they're saying don't go near, in other words, advise against all but essential travel too, and in a couple of little pockets advise against all travel, and these are right down on the borders, the border with Cambodia and the border with Malaysia, but all the traditional resort areas are basically, they're not advising not to go there, but they're just saying be careful when you're there, and remember that there are curfews, for example, and although the authorities have advised that the curfew does not apply to those travelling to or from airports or departing or arriving travellers, but departing or arriving travellers should have their passports and tickets with them from presentation. So not good news for Thailand, and it's obviously affecting their bookings. And I have an interest in that myself, because there's a wedding that I haven't yet decided. I think probably I'm not going to right at the end of January, and this hasn't really affected my decision either way, but it is one minor factor that adds into that decision-making process. So it's clearly something of interest for quite a number of people, and it's a huge industry, and Thailand relies on it to a large extent. The other thing that I was going to talk about was, I'm hoping to write about this tomorrow. This is a rather interesting thing. Let me see if I can find, sorry, what are we looking at the moment? Oh, you're still looking at that airport thing. Sorry about that, I'll come back to me. The other thing that I was going to try and highlight, if I can find the image I had of it somewhere, was something I'm actually waiting to get some information back on, but it's a rather novel idea. It's for photographers, and why can't I find that big picture of it? It was here somewhere before. Move that one out of the way. There's me, and where's this one up here? Oh, here we are. Got it. Right. Okay. So this is a rather unusual vehicle. I'll just give you the details first. It's Tatra Photography. Now, I've got them on Travel List. This is a company that specializes in photography tours. And they do aurora photography tours, photographing the northern lights in Iceland. And they've got themselves a new truck. I call it let's find the truck. There we are. I would call it an expedition truck. It's the same sort of thing that companies like Acacia Africa and Exodus and all those people use for touring throughout Africa. Here we are. There's a photograph of it. I think you can see that now. They describe it as their hotel, and the reason I'm hesitating about writing it up tomorrow is because I'm waiting on some feedback, because the press release actually says something along the lines of it being a 10-room hotel, and I simply don't believe that. I think that's got to be maybe 10 beds at top. But anyway, the traveling accommodation, 10-room hotel on wheels, travels with the group to locations inaccessible to other photography tours. The traveling accommodation will give photographers the opportunity to spend more time in Iceland's epic landscapes without having to check in and check out of hotels or drive long distances to capture the aurora. The hotel is a specially modified Jeep capable of withstanding the Icelandic weather and terrain, so photographers can enjoy all the comfort of a quality hotel and the reassurance that they'll get the best locations at the right time. As well as single and double rooms, the one-of-a-kind traveling hotel includes a fully equipped dining room. Where do they put that then? Where guests are served the freshest food surrounded by Iceland's stunning scenery. The hotel even boasts wireless internet in all rooms, so you can upload pictures on the go. Well, I think it's brilliant. I think it's a great idea. But unless there's some missing information here, and in fact, what they've got is 4 of these trucks, which they kind of circle into a resort hotel. I don't see how you can get all of that TARDIS-like into that little box. So we'll find out about that one tomorrow. But all the same, it's worth taking a note of, particularly if you're interested in photography. It certainly would be one way of doing that. So those were the main things that came across my desk this week. One other, actually, I should just mention, which I think is rather heroic, to be honest. Let me again see if I can. This is obviously not running terribly well. I need to be better organized about this in future. But if I can find my own website and find this little article here, that's the one. This is, I'll just pull it up for you to see here. This is about Marriott, the hotel group, Marriott International. And I think they've been really rather brave here, because the truth is that the entire travel and tourism industry are very interested by and very open and welcoming to the LGBT community, lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender, but they tend not to be too kind of in your face exposed about it. Let's put it that way. They recognise the strength of what they used to call the pink pound and all that kind of thing, but they don't normally shout it from the rooftops. And in this case, Marriott have gone really loud and proud, and they produced a series of images, posters like this, featuring all sorts of people from those groups, and they've hired a well-known photographer, Braden Summers, to actually put this together. And there's a rather nice, if you go to this on Travel Lists and do a search for Marriott, but it's under the travel news section. They've got a nice little video that sort of shows them putting it all together. But I think what was rather astonishing about it is that these are promotional materials which will be used in all the normal places, in newspapers and online and so on and so forth, and on billboards. And here's the interesting thing: they've also created a set of them as building wraps, which they, as of I think yesterday, in conjunction with the Capital Pride celebration, they draped over 5 of their hotels in Washington D.C. as part of the Capital Pride celebration. So I mean, you don't get louder and prouder than that. I'm sure there are many. How can we put it, orthodox types in the Bible Belt who are absolutely spitting blood if they're aware of it. So hats off to Marriott. I think that's a really good thing, and I'm pleased to see that they've done it. So so well done them. Okay, well, in the meantime, clearly nobody else has showed up, so I'm going to call it a day here, where we got to 18 minutes past, and as usual, I'll be back next week. If you do have stuff that you'd like to come on and talk about, it can be really commercial stuff. I'm very happy for people to come in and talk about new travel product or destination news or whatever it might be. Then give me a shout. All you need is your device. Could be a laptop, could be an iPad, it could be phone's too small, but your desktop, whatever. It just needs a webcam and a mic, and earphones are good because it means that you don't get that feedback thing. And a Google Plus account. So that's the way to do it, and you'd be very welcome. I can actually take up to 9 guests on a hangout, although the highest I think I've got to is about 7. So there's plenty of space. Do join me next week, same time, Wednesday, 5 o'clock UK. That's midday on the east coast of the States and 9 o'clock in the morning on the west coast of the States. And of course, it's 6 o'clock in the evening in Europe. But if you'd like to join me, then let me know in advance, and we'll fix that up, and that would be good. Okay, for now, bye for now.